It's May 2022, and welcome to SpeakEasy Online with a small but dedicated team of poets ready to share some words of wisdom. I don't know whether we're all poeted out after the poetry symposium on Saturday, which was brilliant. And it was so good to see. I think there was about 30 people in Tully House all across the day doing the wonderful workshop with Ilse Pedler and then the symposium itself. And I think the bookshop sold some books, which is good. And Andy, you may have noticed I put on Facebook that Andy's doing a couple of workshops at Tully House over the next few weeks. I think the first one is on Saturday actually. And if you go on his blog, you can book. I think it's 1 till 4. I think it's £10 to book it, I think. But check out the details on Andy Hopkins' blog, and they should be really cool, I think. There's a couple of other notices. The next Speakeasy in person is at the Source on the 25th of May, and then we'll probably have a summer break until September. So if you want to get your Speakeasy fix in real life, head to the Source next Wednesday. And Wednesday the 25th of May is also Nick Pemberton's birthday, and he would have been 75, so we might have a cake. No, we won't have a cake, but we'll read some of Nick's poems, I think, and in amongst them, zany madness that continues. And then there's an event we're doing to remember Tony Hendry on the 22nd of June, again at the Source. And if you guys would like to come along and read something, that would be great. If you can let me know in advance, because I'm trying to make it more of a curated event, and I can figure out a running order, and then I'll let everyone know seamlessly what's going on. There's George, the mysterious George. Curious George. Evening.
Hi folks, sorry I'm late.
It's all right. How you doing?
I've had some bug stupid thing for about, over a fortnight, nearly 3 weeks now. It's one of the strangest things. I was saying to somebody today, I feel basically well and feel as though I'm dying. It's the funniest of things. It's like conflict, and I feel as though I'm a fraud, and then I feel as though I'm absolutely drastic. But maybe it's age, or maybe it seems to be a funny bug.
That's odd. Well, I hope you get well soon, George, and you.
Well, I'm assuming that I'm just going to, at some stage, it'll just go. But I mean, I probably was foolish. I put off for a fortnight before I went to the doctor and got antibiotics. And then the antibiotics did nothing for 5 days. I began to think, because it's amazing, they really worry you sometimes, because you started saying, but perhaps we should investigate and make sure there's not something fundamental going on. And you immediately think, oh my God, there's something fundamental going on. Anyway, there we go. Enough of that. I'm basically well. Also, at the back of my mind is that I know that my battery is running out. So that leaves you with a slight thing in the back of your mind about what happens when the battery runs out. Is it like your train set? Does it just suddenly stop and fall off the track?
You'll have to go and get another battery, will you?
Oh yeah, no, they've got to fit another. Well, hopefully. I'm sure there'll come a time when the government will decide that, a bit like sending people to Rwanda or something like that, they'll just decide that if you've had enough batteries, if they spend enough on you in the health service, they should just terminate your contract.
Don't give him ideas, George. Stop it.
Well, it's strange. I joke about these things, and then I look back, and I don't know about you, but over my life, I think there were various things that I thought were totally unthinkable. And then I realized that they are happening or have happened. You know, I mean, it's...
Yeah.
It's, you know, we can't afford to pay to feed people in the street, but we can fire whatever it is, £1 million cruise missile at some undefended place, because we decide that we can. I don't know. It leaves me slightly bamboozled. That you would think that as I go older, I should have more understanding of what's happening, and I think I've got less.
I think you're not the only one, George. We're all a bit bamboozled by what's going on.
Yeah, I do find it funny when they talk about inflation and interest rates and things like that. And I don't know about anybody else here, but I can remember a point at which I decided that we couldn't afford the house because we just moved house, and interest rates when we bought the house were at 9%. They went up to 12% as we moved in, and within a month they decided they were going to 15.5%. And I did the calculations. They said to Margaret, I think we'll need to sell the house.
Oh my goodness. Moving house must be a theme tonight, eh, Kelly?
Are you moving, Kelly?
No, my parents in London, and we're going down, and we're going to get dragged into all the dramas that are going on down there. But I won't go into that. Let's have some poetry to cheer us up.
Yes.
I was going to say the London property market's something else. The house prices just blown my mind away. I was thinking about it the other day, so just digression quickly, but my great-grandfather was a ploughman in Aberdeenshire, and I'm pretty sure stayed in a tied cottage. And my nephew owns a house in London, which I think has cost in excess of £1 million. And I just can't get my head around that either.
There's a contrast. Goodness me. Anyway, it's really good to see you, George. We're gonna crack on. If I kick off, then Kelly, Roz, and then George, and anyone else can go on after George. Is that okay? Cool. Yeah, as I was saying, there's a couple of events. We're doing a special event to remember Tony Hendry, and that's on Wednesday, the 22nd of June at the Source Collective. And if people would like to come along and if they'd like to read something, pay tribute to Tony, do let me know, because I'm trying to curate it and
Sorry, the Wednesday, is that an evening thing then, Phil?
That's at 7:30 on Wednesday, the 22nd of June. Yeah. But hopefully I can figure out what everyone's reading, and if we all read different stuff, we can make an evening of it, and we'll probably film it as well, and share memories of Tony and that. Roz can probably talk a bit more about this as well, but there's a special event with Poets Out Loud in Cockermouth on the 2nd of July, isn't there, Roz? Is it 12:15, 12:30 for an hour at Wordsworth House?
Yeah, 12:15 to 1:15 in Wordsworth House. Yeah.
And you came up with the brilliant title of Wordsworth Saying. Hey. So yeah, an hour of poetry with Roz and Poets Out Loud as part of Cockermouth Live on Saturday the 2nd of July from 12:15 to 1:15. That's cool, at Wordsworth House. And then there'll be a special speakeasy as part of Carlisle's Unity Festival at Telly House on Saturday the 16th of July. We're still to confirm a precise time, but that'll be going ahead. So I'll let you know when I know. Does that sound okay?
I hope you're going to put all these dates on something.
I will. They'll be emailed out and that. Yeah. So as I say, next Wednesday is the last one for this term in real life, and then we'll be back in September. But there's other events happening over the summer, so there'll be plenty of opportunity to do speakeasy and what have you. Whether we keep these going over the summer or not, I don't know yet. I don't know if people might want a break, because we've been doing it for about 2 years, so we could maybe pick these up again in September if that sounds like an idea. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, after all those notices, this is a piece called Vampire Devices, and I heard an article on the news a couple of weeks ago about cost of living crisis and encouraging people to turn off devices that are usually left on standby because they still use up a lot of energy when they're on charge or on standby, and that costs money, obviously. So, and they call these devices vampire devices. I thought that's a great title. So this is Vampire Devices. As the cost of living crisis begins to bite, there's so many worries to keep you awake at night. Energy price rises may bring a tear to your eye. Turn the thermostat down a couple of degrees. Makes a difference. And switch the TV off. Don't keep it on standby. Beware the vampire devices. Dracula will count the cost of each charge of his electric toothbrush. Vlad the Impaler may cut down the times his cape goes through the Corby trouser press. With bills going up, there's lots at stake. Little changes are easy to make. To reduce consumption, we've got the know-how. Just hit the off switch. Go do it now! There you are. It's a little public service announcement. Thank you. I wasn't sure if reading that online was a good idea because you might have all turned your computers off. So, but you haven't, so that's okay. Thank you. Okay, Kelly, do you have a poem for us?
I do. I did a bit of work on the poems that I wrote in Ilse Pedler's workshop. This is one of them. I was telling Roz earlier that she used a wonderful poem called Cups by Gwen Harwood as a prompt. So that made me think of writing about something else from the kitchen. The ladle. Standing upside down in a jar of metal implements, domed head humble on your long thin handle, waiting to be plunged into hot lentil soup. Patient as a monk when our sons were squirming toddlers with pursed mouths, and now they are men hungry from the fells. Down the decades, through births and deaths, blind as Milton, you also serve, although you only stand and wait.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Yes, that was a really good workshop that Elsa did, and yeah, that the poem about the cup was so thought-provoking, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a nice companion piece. You'll have to do a whole collection of lots of different items from around the house. But yeah, excellent. Okay, Roz, do you have one for us?
Yep. Where have I put it? Right. Oh, this one I did. I think, oh gosh, I've lost my arrow. After I watched you last online, and I think this is what you said, George. It was like 9 syllables, 8, 7, 6, and down. So I thought I'd have a go at that. So I come up with this. It's called Hawthorn. Gnarled and knotted as any tree trunk that's bent in the prevailing wind, his silhouette in the sky, alone on the hillside, lurches lopsided, remains standing, stubbornly clings to life. And that was that. I don't know if that's what it was meant to do with it. That's what happened.
Yeah, I think you've got it right there, Roz. Yeah, sounds good. Cool. See, we're sparking off people's imaginations to use different forms and experiment with writing poems in different ways. That's really cool. Okay, well, over to George. What have you got for us?
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, I can't remember what that was called now, Ross. into or something, nine into or something. Anyway, right, I've just gone back to, I wrote during NaPoWriMo, so I realised that I couldn't have read some of these before because I hadn't written them until after the last Speakeasy. So I'm going to do Prime Minister's questions, Boris Johnson. Like a bloated cadaver rises in the polluted Thames, hair stiff blonde as if a mop caught in a storm was frozen by Medusa's stare. He grins like a Cheshire cat, discovering a delight in curdled cream. Shirt stretches and pulls like a spinnaker, rippling as it fills and collapses in a poorly captained yacht. Cold and rudderless, he sails on, knowing that while he floats, his crew will fear drowning, will cling to the hope the next blast of hot air will swing public opinion and the party can party.
Very, very good, George. Very good. Where do you get your ideas from?
It may actually have been Partygate, but you never know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, thank God for a war in the Ukraine, eh? I bet you he's sitting at home rubbing his hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Disgraceful, really. But anyway, we've covered quite a lot of thoughts on the whole Partygate saga over the last few months on these sessions. So, yeah. Yeah, going back to what Kelly was saying, we had this wonderful workshop with Elsa Pedler at the Poetry Symposium on Saturday, and one of the ideas in the workshop was to think of an object, and this is the one I came up with. It's called Stylus. It goes like this. Partnered with paper, implement of communication, messenger, guardian of our decipherable scrawl, art and verse, histories encapsulated and theories of the universe, the weapon of peace, mightier than the sword. From ballpoint or fountain flows wisdom, opinion, wit. In pools of ink our words are writ, humankind's legacy etched. Enabler of equality, wand of the wordsmith. Digital keys might replace you. 21st century tablets fulfill the role of wax tablets you made redundant. In a world of words and ideas, you were number one, bettered only by a pencil with an eraser attached. There you are. Thank you very much. And then Andy Hopkins said, "Oh, I've written one about a biro," and it's sat at the other end of the table. So, great mind.
So I'll read another workshop one. The other thing she did was she let us each choose an object out of a bag, and mine was a little ocarina, a little clay pendant that works as a whistle. Ocarina, leaf-shaped ceramic pendant, cheap souvenir, painted in mauve triangles, green blocks, red squares. 4 small holes on the front, 3 on the back, pinhole eyes and O-shaped mouth. In your base, a narrow slit to which I fit my lips, blowing into your tiny belly. Freed from captivity, your voice is a small bird, singing the mighty Andes into being. We talked about the endings of poems and how it works well if you can widen out at the ending. So I tried to do that with that poem, to go from something very small to something big.
No, it was a really lovely ending. That was very nice, Kelly.
Thanks.
All right. Ros, do you have another one for us, please?
This is also after the last one, but maybe I should wait for Jeanette. It's called "What's the Point of a 53-Word Story in 53 Words?" And I couldn't write a story, so I've written a poem instead, sorry. In a 53-word story, how can anything have time to happen? You need words to recount events, explain ideas and provide meaning. Then whole lifetimes often pass with a waffle of pointless words, still without enough time for anything to happen. With 53-word stories or life, the main point is brevity. And that was, I couldn't think of a story.
That was good. That was good. There was a story in there. Yeah. You'll have to tell it to Jeanette. Thank you very much. George.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to do another one from Naporimo. And funnily enough, for some reason, I don't know, sometimes I suppose ideas get fixed in your head. So it doesn't really matter what the prompt is, you return to something. So this was Fall of the House of Bluster. Years since this house was glorious, wings curved like a diving hawk to gather mice and crush their bones, the maze of graded rooms where status said who came, who bowed, while invisible toilers stoked the fires and tended every wish. So righteous rich at play could consume exotic spices washed down with wine, like blood of distant lands, and stroll corridors bedecked with spoils of wars. Once ablaze with debutantes and dukes, standing up on a rock it seemed inviolate, until greed seeped the souls of those who bought and sold its treasures, who plundered basements and attics, evicted the lesser residents, and now disport in golden chambers, built to protect from the disarray of falling roofs, of creeping rot. Draped in their emperor's clothes, pointing to the crest above the door, they sharpen talons and feast on those grinding in the dust, as neglect lays low the edifice.
That was great, George. Thank you so much. Cool. We've got Hazel tuning in as well. Hello.
Hello.
We can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
We can
Hi,
hear you.
Hazel.
We can't see
Oh,
you.
hiya. Hang on. Let's see if I can. It might not do video. I don't know what's up with my connection. I'm really sorry, folks.
No, it's all right. It's good to hear you.
You might have a disembodied voice. Mark's here as well, so there might be two disembodied voices.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing? Hi, George.
Oh, hiya.
All good. We're good. Well, we've all gone round twice. So it's over to you guys if you want to read something, and we've only got about 4 minutes, and then we'll have to sign back in. But do you have something you'd like to read?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You've already heard this one, Phyllis, but I'll go for it. Small wisdom. Tiny owl, all talons and wide round eyes, as surprised as I at the madness of this world we find ourselves in. Talisman and mythic signifier of wisdom, mentor me magically. Let your magnificence, your magnetism, your mysticism imbue my lexicon and cloak my syllables like thick melted chocolate. That's it. Thank you.
That
You don't
was
need to shuffle us. Hang on.
that was
As
part
you
of-
can't see me, I might as well. There, right. Sorry.
Have you got time for this one, Phil? Yeah.
we
Short
have. I was going
poem.
to say that came out of the workshop, didn't it, Hazel?
It did, yes.
Yeah, Kelly and I have been regaling everyone with our pieces from the workshop.
Oh, fabulous.
So thank you for that. It was good, wasn't it? Really good.
It was very good. Really enjoyed it.
Right then. This was inspired while doing the dishes
Hey.
and looking out of the window, and that thought of where the next poem's going to come from and what's going to trigger it. And it was a spider's web that triggered this. It's called Tangled Web. When tension vibrates in the evening light, color spectrum flexes in the breeze. 5 times stronger than steel, 3 times tougher than Kevlar. Can stop a bullet, one of the toughest materials on earth. And man chooses to use for crosshairs. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's amazing where when inspiration will strike and what words appear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
That was cool. That was really good. All right, I'll probably push the button if we all sign back in, then we can have another loop round. Does that sound okay?
That sounds grand. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you in a second. Yeah, I suspect there's going to be some more poems from that workshop. They're sort of fresh off the press, you know.
The workshops are great for that, aren't they? And just triggering some things. And often in places you didn't think you would go.
Or, ironically, this next piece somewhere been quite often.
Well, that as well, of course. Yeah. Sometimes just to give you even a different angle on something that you've been thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. It's
Should be able to.
we can hear you.
You can hear me now, but I don't think I'm going to get a picture, I'm afraid.
That's
Let me. I'm much better suited to radio.
Not at all. Not at all. Okay. Yeah, as I say, there might be some more people hopefully tuning in at some point as well, but we'll carry on. Yeah, this is from the warm-up exercise from Elsa's workshop on Saturday at the Poetry Symposium. And the idea was to conjure somewhere up in your mind, somewhere you've been before, or maybe you haven't been, or somewhere, see what memories you could conjure up or thoughts you could think about. And I picked Watch Tree because I panicked and I thought, where have I been recently? Watch Tree, we'll do that. So these are some ideas about Watch Tree Nature Reserve. Hard concrete ground, whoosh of wind turbine, howl of wind, whiz of bikes. Cool thanks to the constant blowing breeze. I smell fresh air. Damp soil and earth. Reminds me of infected animals meeting their end. Lost in the tranquility of the woods. A long expanse of grey concrete, surrounded by a fringe of green trees. The wind turbines march across the landing strip. Trees sway. A voice called from the trees. let your imagination wander and roam, for adventure might be round the very next corner. And then we ran out of time, so I stopped. Thank you.
I really like that. I think you should give that to watch. Well, obviously it's your, but let them read it at least.
Yeah. I go, oh, I'll put it on the wall with the other hundreds of poems we've got. Okay.
Well, no, I've just meant don't give it as in they're your words, but I'm sure they'd be really interested to read that.
Yeah, you think they like it?
I do, yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll sort something out. And next time they see you, they'll go, we've got loads of poems about Watch Tree because you mentioned something online.
Well, well, one of the things Venetia was talking about was actually getting some poems about Watch Tree together. So you might like to maybe contribute to that, but it's just an idea. I'll shut up now and let you get on, Phil. Sorry.
No, it's good. I can see light bulbs going on all around the screen, so thank you. Kelly.
I'm going to go down a different track now. This is just a bit of nostalgia, really, for people from my generation, and the way music takes you back to different times in your life. Tracks of my years. I used to race home from school to catch the monkeys on TV. I'd sit down, cross-legged, scabby-kneed, just in time for I'm a Believer. Davy Jones was our favourite, the one we always said we loved as we jumped over the skipping rope. From Little Davy, we moved on to squeaky clean Donny Osmond and floppy fringed David Cassidy, then drugged up mascaraed Mark Bolan, precursor to sex god Mick Jagger, who sang about satisfaction and poured out his heart to Angie. In about 1970, I had my first party with boys. Mum took me to the local record shop to buy a copy of the Beatles' White Album. I thrilled to back in the USSR and the whooshing sound of the jet touching down. In adolescence, I listened to Tapestry, Ladies of the Canyon, and Tea for the Tillerman, bit my nails and fretted about my flat chest. I wanted to escape into the wild world Cat Stevens warned me about. Now there were older boys, mostly monosyllabic, dope smoking, keen on prog rock, Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin with their interminable instrumentals, all a bit boring till Santana's swooning guitar solos seduced me. At my women-only college, the girl in the room above had only one album, Fleetwood Mac's Rumours, which she played incessantly, yet I still like it 4 decades later. In a damp basement flat in Jericho, shared with a boy who broke my heart, I scribbled essays to the sound of Richard and Linda Thompson and Leonard's Romantic Gloom. Then a year teaching English in Singapore. Desmond Decker's Israelites was the song I put on each morning as the sun poured in over the balcony, smelling of freedom. Thanks.
That was great. You can smell the vinyl. That's great. Yeah, the White Album's a great album, but it's very weird. I think, did Ringo say he got bored on that album because the others were all experimenting with all these various processes and things in the studio, and he said, I learned to play chess on the White Album.
It was very different from all their others, wasn't it? Yeah.
Very much. Cool. Okay, Roz, follow that.
Yeah, no, that was good. takes you back a bit, doesn't it? What am I reading now? I'm not sure about this at all. I can't remember, was it 2 days ago? I got up and looked in the mirror, and I could have sworn it was my mother. So I thought I'd better write something about that. But this, anyway, I looked in the mirror and quite surprisingly saw my mother's face looking back at me. It's disconcerting that she turned up today. I presume she must have something to say, but she only stared out at me blankly, which was quite terrifying, frankly, because when she had still been living, she always had some advice she'd be giving. But I suppose she had intended to be kindly, but she pronounced her judgments blindly, incapable of seeing past her own opinion, since her perspective held dominion. She couldn't understand there could be something other, separate, with agency. But looking like my mother doesn't mean I've inherited her personality. That reflection in the mirror was definitely me. And that was a response to the shock of seeing my mum looking at me. It was really weird.
That was great, Roz. You, again, a bit like Mark was saying about, you know, just staring out the window when you're doing the washing up. That, you know, you found a poem there. That's amazing. That's great. Okay, George, what do you have for
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, Hazel, not being able to see you, and you were talking about that a minute ago, reminded me of the fact that America at one time, when the satellites came in, were trying to link up across the whole of America. So they had Andy Williams on one coast and Stevie Wonder on the other. And they had a wee bit of difficulty with the signal, and then there was crackling, and then the picture came through. And Andy Williams jumped in excitedly and shouted, "I can see you, Stevie. Can you see me?" Right. To pick up on something Mark said about inspiration and where it comes from, this was something I wrote the other day, which hopefully is self-explanatory. Such moments are of gold and shadow. A young woman hurries to the shop. A fleeting moment and she disappears. The sudden arrow strike of loss hits deep and pins my heart to stop. Pull the car to the roadside. Wait for a passenger who will not come with hot cross buns. And I want to share a moment when I waited with a reason to be patient, though I did not want the buns. Watched minutes like a lifetime and did not know the day when those minutes would be near. I move on. There is no reason to turn back.
And I was just going to say, I was trying to do a laughter thing, George, with your "Can you see me, Stevie?" But it came out the tears. I didn't mean to do that.
I just couldn't, it's a story that I love. I just think I think Stevie Wonder said technology is brilliant, but I don't think it's managed. His reply was really very sharp.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Well, Ginetto, hello. Welcome to the
Hello.
craziness as usual.
Nice to see you all. Sorry I'm late.
It's all right. Are you okay to go after Mark, who's after Hazel?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. All right. Fantastic. Well, we're with Hazel now. Have you got one for us, Hazel?
Yes. Now, what am I going to read? Oh goodness. This is a bit of an old one, but
Hey George, what is happening?
Sorry?
Sorry.
It's Shiraz, Jeanette, is that okay?
Oh, I wish I had one about about wine now.
We're testing that technology like Andy Williams and Stevie Wonder.
I
Cheers.
ended up calling this one.
Cheers.
What
I
Day-
need this filled. I need a new one. Sorry. I'll mute myself.
Okay. This actually, I guess, feels sort of appropriate because it was a poem I wrote after going to the very first Poets Out Loud, which was in a pub somewhere in Cockermouth. And I called it, I've called it, what, 3 words, but the waning gibbous moon slips in and out of soft gauze cloud. A figure lurches into the light, pooling from my dipped beams. Maybe it's because I've spent the evening in poetry, but Owen's line comes to mind. He plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. And then Stevie Smith's, not waving, but drowning, as I twitch the steering wheel to avoid him. Heart thudding, I hesitate, prevaricate. Is he drunk or in trouble? The truck ahead must have seen him, driven past. 90 to 1, a male trucker, and if he's avoided my ghost soldier, I want to know he's okay, but I'm scared to turn back. There's a car full of Carlisle poets behind me heading home, safer for them to stop than me. Lone woman, red dress, bare legs shout vulnerability louder than grey hair and stooped shoulders. You gain a cloak of invisibility with age. But I reflect that this is why I leave my femininity at the door when I cross my threshold, safer, more empowering to inhabit almost androgyny out in the world. So that's that one.
I think that was the Kingfisher pub in Cockermouth, but I'm not sure it's there anymore.
Oh, right.
Right.
I kind of, because I know it wasn't the trout, but it's always the trout that springs to mind, probably because it's the only pub I can think of in Cockermouth. But anyway, I haven't been out there very often.
Mm.
Well, you missed the notices at the beginning, but you'd be very welcome to come along on, when was it, Ros? The 2nd of July. There's an event at Wordsworth.
That's it. Is that at the Kirkgate? Is that the Kirkgate?
No, that's the one for Cockermouth Live on a Saturday in Wordsworth House.
Oh, okay, Ros.
That's just like an extra special one. Normally we're on the 2nd Wednesday of every month in the Kirkgate. Well,
So, right, that's what
so
I'm
far we
thinking
have
of.
been. Yeah.
Okay.
After the karate class.
Hopefully I will make it at some stage, yes. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, Mark, do you have another one for us?
Yes, I do. Yeah, this one's called First Impressions. 4 flights of damp stairs to chattering conversation, smiling faces, and meeting a laptop celebrity in the flesh. Greetings and laughter, a perfect combination. Artful decoration enhances the space. Readings and performance across a wide spectrum. Poems, anecdotes, storytelling, opinions, quotations, and music. An electric evening filled with surprise and wonderment. A delightful serving in the sauce to enhance everyone's textual taste buds. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have to wonder where you get your inspirations from, Mark.
yeah. I just wanted to, write something so that I could read out next time I see everybody there, because they made me feel really, really welcome, and it was a great evening. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, it was great to have you there, and it was funny where you turned out you knew half the people in the room actually by the end of the night.
yeah. That's Cumbria, yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's really lovely. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Jeanette, oh, hello.
Hello. I'll behave now.
I don't believe that. No one believes.
This poem I am chuffed and overwhelmed to have had published in part of the Dylan Thomas Love the Words anthology. I got an email on Saturday to confirm that. Anyway, so it was all about a sea theme. And so this is called Seaside Sandwiches. Sand-dusted banana sandwiches take me back to a childhood beach in the 1970s. I can hear the waves under monochrome sky, safe behind bright stripes of windbreak. Biting into cloud-white bread and thick yellow spread, I'm transported by Tupperware, squashed and warm. A perfect picnic, past still present, as I close my eyes and taste the grit as it crunches between my teeth. That's that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, you weren't here before, Jeanette, so Roz might read it to you again later on, but Roz has written a wonderful piece called "What's the Point of a 53-Word Story?"
All right. Oh, yeah, please reread it.
We'll get her to read it again in a bit. But it put me in mind of John Cooper Clarke's attempt to write a haiku. Do you know that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes, to convey one's moods in 17 syllables is very difficult.
Yeah.
Good that, isn't it? Send that one to David Simmons. I've got one more from the workshop that we did on Saturday. As Kelly said, we were given objects that we unwrapped, and I got this little green stone, and writing about a little green stone was quite difficult. But I've come up with something. So this is green rock. And see what you think. Highly polished, shiny stone. Emerald striped contours of forest and sea green. Miniature mountain of contemplation. Dark speckled base, a window into the cosmos. Prized object for meditation. Light glides off the smoothed edges. Concentric circles build round out the exclamation mark at the center. Jupiter has its red spot. Perhaps Earth has, at its heart, this lump of pure green.
Very Blackadder.
Very Blackadder, yes. I did lean into that somewhat. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Kelly, do we have time for one more from you, Kelly, before you rush off?
Just one more, and then yeah, I'll have to go. But before I read it, I just want to give a quick plug to this lovely poetry pamphlet by Hazel and her friend Chrissy Morrison, published by Phil at Call Due Press. It's such good fun. If you haven't got a copy, then you should. And it's got an amazing design that's sort of back to front. It's in 2 halves, so grab a copy, you will enjoy it.
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
That's okay. Just wanted to let everyone know.
2 collections in
and
one.
it's hot off the press, isn't it? So get your copy while it's hot. Anyway, I'm just going to leave you with a slightly tongue-in-cheek, slightly bitter poem. It came from a prompt that Kim Moore gave us in a workshop. I can't remember what the poem was, but it started, those poems of yours. So that's how this one starts. You know those poems of yours, the ones older women always write about their youthful romances, elderly parents, adult children long gone, the indignities of aging, wearing purple. You know, those brave, plucky poems, the ones younger people don't really want to read, the ones reviewers won't be fighting to review. You may have a lifetime's experience and hard-won wisdom to impart, but there are so many older women poets ploughing the same furrow. And stop using cliches.
I love that, Kelly.
I'll love you and leave you. Another cliche.
Yeah. Cheers, Kelly.
See you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Oh, very good. Alrighty then. Where are we up to? Roz. Roz, we're with you again.
Right. I just remembered this, which I can tell you because it's only got 4 lines. And you reminded me of it with that one you just did, although it's not quite as funny as that. It does end abruptly. That's why I thought of it. And anyway, I called it Not Quite a Limerick. No, I won't bother to say all that. Right. I know my name is Roz, but that is only because when my brain popped, everything stopped. And that was that. And do you want your 53-word story? I'll keep that for next time.
Okay, hang on to it for next time. That was great, Roz. Very funny. Cool. All right. George, do you have another one?
Caught me by surprise. I'm going to go back to the Naporimo thing again. And it was, we were asked, the prompt was that a woman appears in a dream and she represents the area in which you stay. So this is all actually about Paisley, or hopefully tries to capture something of Paisley. So this is together. Seduction slides into the high street, echoes in the chill of evening rain, whispers here and not here, like many karaoke nights, old favourites and old loves, splash of deluge and flagstones, a memory of mill girls' Friday nights. There is a keening in the wind, carries me to shared places, distant roar from the Hamels, like ghost voices in chorus, a song of faded cinemas, of nightclubs, where teddy boys in Italian shoes winkled out a mate. Are you dancing? A beat taps on Dun Square. I begin to hum of blooming heather. Remember a high street, a buzz, and crowds taking the threads of fate to weave their patterns. And I feel the soft embrace of past desires, like tears. Whistle, and I'll come to you, my lass. This night she sings, and I must dance.
That was good, George. Yeah, it's kind of a spooky, haunting quality to that. Yeah. Liked it.
I don't know what it's like down in Carlisle, etc., and the places you live in, but I'm still amazed about there used to be a really vibrant nightlife in Paisley. The town used to be alive at night. I mean, it was alive with couples meeting, with cinemas that were coming out and going in. You know, there used to be queues for the cinema. I don't know if maybe there still are. It's so long since I've been at a cinema. But there must have been about 8 nightclubs in the town, and now there's none of that.
Yeah, well, there's the cinema in Carlisle's on the same street as a lot of the nightclubs, so it's usually quite lively around there. But the only queue in the cinema is because they're understaffed, and they must cook all the hot dogs and popcorn and drink and stuff. So there's a queue because you can't just buy tickets. You have to buy everything else. So you have to go about half an hour before your film's supposed to start.
Does anyone still do that thing about you went in halfway through the film and you watched it all the way through until you came to the bit that you had seen before and then you left? So you didn't see the film in the right order. I mean, you just, whenever you get a seat, you joined in and watched it. No, I can see everyone's bamboozled by that. Oh,
I don't do that anymore, George.
I do that with Netflix, depending on when I've had a nap. So
Yeah, I think they knocked that on the head a long time ago. I think it was Alfred Hitchcock with Psycho. He wasn't letting people into the screenings after the film had started because it would ruin the suspense. So I suspect that might have been sort of the beginning of the end for that. But yeah, I find it difficult to comprehend it now that there was a time where you could do that. You could get a ticket, just wander in, and the film would be halfway through or whatever, and then you could sit round supposedly until where you came in, and then leave. Amazing. Them were the days, eh? Anyway, Hazel, do you have another one for us?
Well, I think because you read your Watch Tree one, which came out of that workshop that we did with Ilsa, which was absolutely fabulous, but I have to say I'm very daunted by that thing of write a poem. It's like, what? I can't just write a poem like that. Anyway, but I did have she did the, going somewhere. I went to the Durdle Arch, which you might know from down near Lulworth Cove. So I just called it Durdle Moment. Salt, tangy breeze, undertones of seaweed, peace here, holiday happiness, family joy, almost vertigo, teetering high over the rhythmic breaking of the waves against the majestic limestone curve. We watched the sunset, descending an unexpected, unforeseen challenge in the dusk. So it's very unfinished, and that's even days later. So I found it's an extreme challenge to write a poem to order like that. But anyway, your turn.
I like that. It was good. I think the thing with being put on the spot like that is everyone's put on the spot, aren't they? So, yeah, there's some good stuff in there, Hazel. I like it.
Thank you.
You're very good you're very disciplined with working on it after the event. I can't be bothered with that. It's either there or it isn't, Sorry, Mark, what have you got for us?
This next one is born of an idea that they're trying to get to the bottom of at the moment, which is obviously we've all got our parents' genes, and they're saying that our parents' thought process is also embedded within the genes. And I wrote this trying to think of how to explain it, and I've called it recalibration. Opposite mirrors reflect the parallel image of your past. Remove the critical thinking image. Recalibrate. Connect to a new reflection. Connect to a new spiral. Move forward. Curve away from the negative burden. Look for what can be rather than what is. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That was really good, and it was kind of a companion piece to Roz's poem about looking in the mirror.
Yes,
Definitely.
yeah, very much so, yeah. And I think I associate with what Roz was talking about earlier. Yeah, you catch yourself talking to your kids and sounding like your parents, or even a background noise can trigger an image and a reflection. It's yeah, it's weird as you get older. Yeah.
And I do like Roz. I look in the mirror and see my mother, and it's very disconcerting.
Thank you.
Thank you. You see, Roz, it happens to the best of us. Anyway, Janetta.
That was fantastic, Mark. And I feel really shoddy just now reading my, still on a little scrap of paper poem from Saturday's workshop that I haven't yet fixed, but I'll read it as it is. It's called Pondering Keys. Your metal is mottled with heavy door slam, caught in a lock of a swinging door. In your mechanism, I can see a free-flowing tap, and releasing you from the claustrophobic ring and rattling chain, you can unlock glints of silver, reflecting light, pointing forwards, like looking down the barrel of a gun, I imagine. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Kelly was talking about the endings of poems earlier on as well, and yeah, the ending to that very striking. It sort of hits you, you know. It sort of changes a lot of your perspective on it. But yeah, that like looking down the barrel of a gun, I imagine. Yeah, that's good. That's a good piece. That.
Psychiatrist onto that one, I think.
Yes, all these will be going to a doctor of psychology at some point. That's another thing about poetry, is you don't know whether it's opening up a window on your subconscious or something. Here's one. I wrote this when Poets Out Loud was looking for a new venue, and this is called A Home for Poets. A venue sought by poets, with a welcoming nature, somewhere to tell stories, a refuge to share your notions. Sail with us on a voyage over an ocean of imagination. Do you know the secret knock? Do you say the password? An open door, a friendly face saying, "Come on in." We few, a band viewed with suspicion. Are you here for the poetry? That's right. You're in the annex, down the corridor, banished to the outbuilding or the cellar. This is all wrong. Poets should be center stage. We're a regular flash mob, 21st century strolling players. Let us regale you with our tales, stories in rhyme, song, or free verse, setting thoughts and ideas loose on an unsuspecting room. We bring the magic and the silliness, set the world to rights, and then eat cake. Always a good night out, of us sharing thoughts, a home for poets, somewhere special's sought. There you are. I think we found a place again, so that was good. Okay. Thank you very much. We've only got a minute or two, so if I push the button and we all sign back in, and then we'll be with Roz to start off again.
Hello again.
Hello again. Hello. We're just
See
waiting.
what earth I'm going to read.
Well, you've got a couple of minutes while we wait for Jeanette, I think. So you'll find something. You could do your 53-word story one again.
I can do that. That's short and sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise I've got the one I did last time at Poets about Boris's promises. But
Oh yeah, that's a good one as well.
that all right? That's about all I've got open on this computer. I don't have to go and find something.
No, that'll do. It's good.
Yeah. Who was here when I did the 53 word? Was it just you, me, and Kelly? Or about it was George? And I can't remember.
I was going to say, Ross, save your 53 words one for when Jeanette comes in, because she'd really like to hear that one.
Yeah.
Well, I would too,
Well,
but I know.
I can't remember who was there. And that's short anyway. I'll do this.
Well, it must have been quite early on, Ross, because I didn't hear it.
You didn't? Oh, that's all right. So it's only Phil I can bore. I'm doing it twice.
Sure, we didn't have more at all.
Never at all.
George must have heard it because we hadn't started before. When
Oh. Sorry, sorry. I must not have been concentrating. Right, sorry.
It's all right. It's not a test, George. It's all right.
I don't know. I do daily dementia tests now, but I suddenly realise that I can't remember people's names or where I was at a particular time, and start setting myself targets. But anyway,
It's okay. You might have been having to sort out what you were going to read. So to be fair to George, there, put him on the spot now. Sorry.
I'm just mortified that you can't remember what I said.
You can do it again. That's the good thing about it, Roz. You're going to get the chance to do it again.
I'll do it again for you now, if you like. And I can find it again. Oops.
It's a smooth, well-oiled machine as always. Slick.
There you go. What's the point of a 53-word story in 53 words? In a 53-word story, how can anything have time to happen? You need words to recount events, explain ideas, and provide meaning. Then whole lifetimes often pass with a waffle of pointless words, still without enough time for anything to happen. With 53-word stories, all life, the main point is brevity. And that was that.
Excellent.
Especially for you.
Wise words, wise words. Okay, George, you're next.
Right, yes, I've just been looking out for stuff. So this came from a workshop the other day, strangely enough. Shuddering of a scorched throat, like a burning bush draped with strange fruit, a fiery cross in a red sky morning, flaming cloud and steam of rain on hot earth, the lava of molten men, the ash of broken men, marching, the onward flow of hate erupting, a scar on a landscape, ploughed, tilled, picked by those tied to this place of skulls, this Golgotha.
That was great, George. Yeah. So that was just out of a workshop as well. Just came to you in a workshop.
Yeah, I can't remember what the prompt was, but I think, as you said earlier, there are things that trundle around in your mind. And I don't know, but for some reason, I'm getting a lot of feeds at the moment of events happening in America where you get, like 12-year-old boys cycling through a scheme or cycling through housing and someone threatening to shoot him because he's clearly up to no good because he's black, and things like this. And even what's happening now in Ukraine, where we preach how horrible certain aspects of society are to each other, and these scars don't go away. Don't go away.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I can see why your imagination kicks in. Yeah. Okay. Hazel, we're with you.
That came round quick. I think this is probably another one of my I think when Jane was editing one of the SpeakEasy magazines and I sent her some material, she said to me that my material was not quite poetry and not quite prose. So I thought that was actually quite a good way of describing it. And this is not quite finished either. Oh, in that one, okay. So this is called Mythic Meetings. Rain droplets spin circles, rippling obsidian surfaces, pattering loud on my hood. No reflections settling here for Narcissus. Cuckoos, curlews and lapwing call over drifts of cotton grass tufts. A prehistory soundscape across the Solway mosses. Photographing banks of sweet wild bluebells, last year at this time the blue ground misting was over rain-dampened landscape on the Cumbrian dubbed Scotch side. Returning from a camping trip, a route was remade by centurions to border reavers. Today, rapeseed, gorse and dandelions vie for yellow supremacy. Volunteers at Holmcultram Abbey plant wild flowers on the coastline's beeline, and we find, apparently, the Earl of Carrick's memorial stone, father to Robert the Bruce. 2 dogs on a quad, a Cumbrian Cerberus, trundle along the lane, a mythic May Day holiday indeed. Yeah, so it's not quite finished, but and it's not quite a poem either, but anyway.
Well, we'll have it in our book.
Thank you.
That was good. Thank you. Okay, Mark.
Follow that.
Follow that.
I wrote this recuperating after my appendix last year, and I came out of hospital and I had to self-isolate for 10 days.
And I think so did I.
Yeah.
It did not go down well anyway.
I wrote this about a Bowden drum, a medicine drum, which hangs on the wall. It's entitled Drum. Deer hide cured, hoop bound, dried taut, shamanic blessing, tuning to healing frequencies, oscillations from equilibrium, generating a quantum level. Pulsing energy of the deer hide vibrates to move the air once again. Thank you.
Hold the phone and clap.
So that brought back happy memories then.
Well, it worked. It healed me anyway. So.
That's good. Good.
He just about survived having to self-isolate with me.
Well, thank you very much. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Janato.
Here's a 53-word story. And it's called Second Draft. On writing a letter to her younger self, she crossed out the condescending dear. On rereading, she found reason and traced herself between the lines of conformity. No longer an anagram of the many he's, she signed off with a flourish, then watched the phoenix of her torn words rise with independent flame.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks ever so much.
Absolutely.
That was brilliant. Why did you write that? I mean, was that an online prompt or something?
Yes, I can't remember what the prompt was. I send one a month, and I can't remember what the theme was for that one. Oh, my battery's running low on my laptop, just bear with me. I can't remember what the actual prompt was.
I thought it was me beeping, Jeanette.
No, it's me.
Wow, well, that's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. It's from a couple of months ago. I just cannot remember. I should jot down at the bottom what the prompts were.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, to recharge my batteries, I've joined you with a drink, George.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, shall we do one more quick spin round, and then I'll release you back into the wild.
Into the wilds.
It was the Eurovision Song Contest the other night, wasn't it? We did quite well, actually, which was like, they've done it just because I wrote this, and now they've done it just to make me look stupid. We nearly won the blooming thing. So, yeah. This was, I wrote this last year after our sort of the ritual humiliation, because it was my birthday last week, and the weekend that's usually near my birthday is usually when Eurovision's on, and everyone gets distracted by Eurovision, and then we always end up getting nil point, and we all have a miserable time, and I'm trying to have a nice time for my birthday, and the whole nation is thoroughly embarrassed. And I thought it was high time we did something about that, but I don't need to now, because we've actually got decent people doing it, so it seems, if we nearly won. I think we came second, so second's quite good, because you don't actually have to host it the next year, so you like all the glory and none of the pain of having to put on an event. Anyway, this was my suggestion for a song for Europe, and you have to imagine all the backing singers and the dancers and the gold armor jacket and the like. And here it goes. You can join in on the chorus. How do we win Eurovision? Seems like forever it's been going wrong. Don't ask for laser-like precision, but just need to craft a good song. A catchy tune that doesn't disappoint, maybe sung by a familiar star. Should be the way to avoid 0 points. Don't want to hear we scored nil point. How do we win Eurovision? Seems like forever it's been going wrong. Don't ask for laser-like precision, but just need to craft a good song. Keep the words snappy, happy and upbeat. Surely we can find a melody and tune. We'll snatch victory from certain defeat and hear cheers all around the room. How do we win Eurovision? Seems like forever it's been going wrong. Don't ask for laser-like precision, but just need to craft a good song. Don't worry about the staging, don't worry about the dances. If our song's not engaging, I don't rate our chances. How do we win Eurovision? Seems like forever it's been going wrong. Don't ask for laser-like precision, but just need to craft a good song. Last time, how do we win Eurovision? Seems like forever it's been going wrong. Don't ask for laser-like precision, but just need to craft a good song. There you are. Send it to the next one. Oh dear. I apologise as well, because it will get stuck in your head, that song. Sorry about that.
Does it mean, do Russia have to host it next year then? Because Ukraine won.
Ukraine won, didn't they? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer that question, George. So we'll find out in due course. But yeah, thank you very much. You're all very kind and very patient, and I think some of you have heard that about 3 or 4 times now. So thank you.
It gets better every time.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Dancing girls made it, by the way.
Say again, George.
The dancing girls made it.
I thought so. I thought they did a great job, didn't they? Okay. I've lost track of it now. Well, Roz, I think we're with you. Roz, have you got another one for us? The one about Boris, I think you did.
Oops. I thought I would do this one was the other one I did the other night, called Deformed Fingers, and it's got as a subtitle Tupperden's Contracture, which is like a genetic condition. So I thought that might fit in with some of the other things that I've said tonight. And it starts with the same lines as the 9 and 8, because that's where I got them from, near enough anyway. Fingers gnarled and knotted as any tree trunk that's bent sideways in the prevailing wind and has over time become permanently fixed in deformity and doomed to live with these constraints. No longer lithe or supple, unable to straighten, so unlike their former selves, no longer elegant, but turned clumsy and faltering, yet oddly fascinating. There's a strange kind of beauty in their hidden wisdom. They can predict the future and reveal the past through the deep knowledge they carry about the ages before their own birth. And because it's genetic and you can, it knows something about you before you get it.
That's really good, Roz. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, George, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, this is another one from the workshop the other day. I can't honestly remember what the prompt was. I think it was about personification and metaphor, etc. But I can't. Anyway, this is hopefully a lot of you will know the spot that I'm talking about. Storm, Bamborough. Sands lie long and thin, tide-washed, shiny, as if polished by a diligent maid anxious to impress her mistress. The wind whines in my ear, plucks my clothes. Is it disgust that my dress has not shown proper deference? Grasses bend low in supplication. Salt spray whips my skin like a carpenter seeking to expose the grain before reaching for the varnish. A smear of rain sinks in pores like Danish oil. I bend as to an ancient queen released from the castle ramparts to reclaim her beach, where she vanquishes dog walkers, picnickers, plays with ghosts of sailors tossed in the breakers. A hardy soul in wet suit, a black sea monster rises from the surf to flap ashore. A gull screams. The Farne Islands sink to defeat.
Yeah, I know Bamborough and Bamborough Castle in the Farne Islands. But yeah, the weather can be a bit fierce at times.
Strangely, I often like beaches and things like that when it's really stormy and it's howling and there's nobody around. I quite like it like that. In some ways, I prefer it to when it's full of picnickers and people playing. But that's just me.
Yeah. No, it has its own beauty when it's like that, I think, yeah. No, that was cool. I think they were, well, I know they were filming the new Indiana Jones film at Bamborough Castle last summer. So it'll be interesting to see what what they do with that in the film, because I think it was quite substantially rebuilt. What was it, Armstrong who owned it? He made his money in Rolls-Royce engines and things, I think, and sort of.
Yeah, a huge amount out of armament actually,
Mm.
because he was the hydraulic king, so he did a lot for the British Navy, but also, strangely enough, for the Japanese Navy. If you go to Cragside, there's a suite in the basement which has got saunas and plunge pools and things. And part of that was that he entertained, I think, some people from the Japanese government. And I think, well, I mean, he probably wanted them himself anyway,
Yeah.
but I would imagine that probably appealed to them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. We're learning things on this tonight. That's cool. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Thank you very much, George. Yeah. Hazel, do you have one more for us?
I do. I was struggling to decide which one to read, so I've opted for this one, seeing as how kind of family and stuff seems to have been one of the themes. It's called, and it's been a long time since I've read it, so you'll have forgotten I read it the first time. Anyway, it's called This Child. This child, I want to say, is mine, but how can this handsome giant be owned? This child moved into life from between thighs I used to think should have stayed together, until this child made me gateway to life. Mother, a role I fought hysterically. Mature, responsible, sensible, who me? Wild child, no parent. But this child was wiser, more knowing than me. This child showed me ways of muddling through the nonsense, the ridiculousness of being responsible for an other, while keeping both of us relatively intact. I learned from this child I didn't have to change into someone I couldn't be. All I had to do was shrug off self-destruct, follow my nose, his life, to now. And now when I look back and realise this child has surpassed any expectations of what my child might become into his own self, a self that loves and values me and my flawed, iridescent madness. Thank you.
That was great. That was a really, that was a wonderful piece.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing it. You've made it difficult for Mark again.
Yeah.
We'll have to reverse the order, won't we, really?
There seems to be a continuing theme.
Maybe it's not very fair. We'll mix it up.
Yeah.
It's because you don't use your own device. That's part of it, you see.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Yeah.
the price you pay. I'm a hard woman, am I not?
No comment on that one. Come on, Mark, what have you got?
Right. We were there's a whole troop of us out in Whitehaven, maybe probably about a month ago, and it was a gathering of the band, and some introductions were made with new partners, and it was a perfect afternoon. It was brilliant in the Peddler in Whitehaven. And during the conversation after the meal, I was talking with Ginetto, and we were talking about writing and different bits and bobs and that. And anyway, I'll read this out, and then we'll see how it goes. Approaching the drum kit, I thread my way between the band's amps, guitars, and headliner's spiked back line. Sit on the drum throne and try to relax. Within the blues set tonight, there are 3 Rory Gallagher songs: Messing with the Kid, Shadow Play, and calling card. Not more than 20 feet in front of me sits the owner of the drum kit, Ted McKenna, watching me like a hawk. He has kindly agreed to allow me to use his kit, but what Ted does not know yet is that Steeler will be playing 3 songs that he played with Rory Gallagher. To say that I am nervous is putting it very mildly indeed. Thank you.
Oh, I'm holding the phone again, so I can't clap. There we go.
Yeah. Oh wow, you conjured up that really lovely there. It was really beautifully done. Yeah.
Thank you. And what prompted that is because I'm still working on it, but I'm writing a memoir stroke autobiography of the first 12 months of the band that I had. And Janetto asked, she said, so what is the opening line? And it's like when somebody asks you, so what sort of songs do you play in the band? What's on the set? And you just cannot remember, you draw a blank.
Yeah.
So thanks, Janetto. It prompted me to go back and pick it all up again and start to look at it and rekindled where I'd actually left off. So yeah, a nice prompt. Thank you.
Cool.
You're very welcome. And that is a powerful first line, actually, Mark. Well, it all was. You were there in that room and we were with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, I've read quite a few autobiographies and the way that they come across and memoirs, you know, but the first thing that I remember as a child, and I'm sorry, I just closed the book. I can't be on with that. And reading Keith Richards' life, he starts off with a big bang story, and I thought, right, I want to try and emulate that and have that sort of impact. But thank you. Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to read more, so keep it going.
Cheers, thank you.
Cool. Okay. Janetto, what have you got for us?
Right, I've got
the sage giver of advice.
At the source a couple of weeks ago, I said I'd made an attempt at a sonnet, and then when I checked it when I got back home, the structure wasn't right, the form wasn't right. So I've rewritten it. Well, no, I've rewritten the second, I think it was the second line to make sure they rhyme with the fourth now and such like. Anyway, it was based on a sculpture that was in a New Light exhibition at Tully House. It was John Clare, the poet, in a cage. I don't think that will show up too well, but anyway, I was totally besotted with it, really, and intrigued by it. So here is my second attempt at a sonnet, which still may not be correct. To John Clare, a poet is born, not made. You are, and what you are hangs wondering from a darkened beam that's fixed to the wall. You sit in the still on a silent swing, caged in a cage with eternal enthrall. Exhibited, city ornamented, fastened and buttoned in bronzed refinement, but with buckles tight, your chest got dented. Were you perched in safety or confinement? To prevent your rural wings from burning, though your chin points up, resin tears set still, lost in obscurity of self-yearning, your sanity spilled in a black ink quill. With wistful words above the vaulted sky, you are, and a poet should feel safe to fly. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent. And to be fair, you did say it was an attempt at a sonnet.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll forgive myself a little then.
Yeah. Don't be too hard on yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Poets should be free to fly. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Well, that's really good. I think we can draw things to a close now. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone who read, and everyone who listened, everyone who left before the end, and everyone who stayed, everyone who was late. And yeah. Thank you all. As I say, the next in-person speakeasy is next week, and then that might be the last one of those until September, as we have a bit of a summer break. But there'll be other events across the summer. I don't know whether we'll keep these going over the summer, or we might have a break from these and pick those up in September as well, because I know, you know, people have holidays and lives, and how dare they, you know.
The Tony thing, the event for Tony was in June, is that right, Phil?
Yeah, that's on Wednesday, the 22nd of June at 7:30 at the Source Collective. Yeah. I'll put more information out about all these things on the Facebook page and email things out as well. But yeah, but I've realised I was I think most of you have been to most of these sessions online. I think Jeanette, I think you've been to all of them bar one. I think you've been to all of the online sessions. I think. It's a bit like some kind of cyber stalker. No, it's been great. You've all been brilliantly supportive of this, and it's been good to see you in real life as well. George, we may even tempt you down to Carlisle at some point.
Well, I mean, I really am intending to try and I was going to try and come down to the symposium, but I had a workshop, as it turned out, it was on the same day. The other thing was I had this bug, which I realised that I didn't want to travel. But I'm still hoping to come down at some stage, because it'd be nice to see everybody face to face. And actually just nice to get down to Carlisle and or even down to Cockermouth along that coast. I think it's just lovely.
Cool. Well,
It'd be lovely to meet you, George. Sorry, Phil.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, well, I'll turn up sometime. I'll probably turn up trying to sell books, by the way, so beware.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to exchange books. I think that might be easier. Thank you all for tuning in and supporting it while we've been on Zoom as well, because it's been a strange couple of years. But I was looking in my diary, and I think the last month, there wasn't some form of speakeasy shenanigans happening, either online or in real life, was March 2019, when Becca had gone on holiday, and we missed a month because it's been a little while. So yeah, we can maybe have a little break, recharge the batteries, except for all those events I just listed. So it'll be ongoing. But it's been great. So thank you all for.
Well, thank you, Phil, for all your hard work on this. I think that's brilliant. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, Phil. Thank you.
Well, thank you for tuning in, because it would have just been me on my own. Otherwise, you know. It's been good.
It's been another grand night. Thank you, everybody, and thanks for putting it on, Phil. It's been brilliant.
That's great. It's great. Well, enjoy the summer. I'm sure I will see you maybe next week, or at the as I say, the event for Tony in June and Unity Festival in July. So there's lots going on. So yeah. And as I say, Poets Out Loud have got the special Words Worth Saying in Wordsworth House on the 2nd of July. So yeah. Cool.
So I can't make next week.
It's all right.
I could never going to get to Carlisle.
One day.
One day.
One day. Cool. Well, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon.
And
Bye,
you,
everybody. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.